Are you ready, Steve?
Oh, I thought we had like the wipe coming down. Sorry.
Nope, not this time.
Welcome inside Black and Gold, folks. Steve Geller, Jeff Nowak, recovering from a doomsday scenario in the Superdome where those dirty birds from Atlanta come in and get a 24-10 victory over the Saints. And guess what? The Black and Gold offense didn't even put that touchdown on the board. It was a rough one. We're here to break it all down with you and get up to our typical stock up, stock down categories as well. And man, oh man, Jeff, I don't know. I feel hornswoggled for believing in this greatness. Well, not greatness, but a little bit of hope that was instilled after a Carolina Panthers game. Figured that rest would do everybody good and we'd see a revitalized Saints team coming into this matchup. And it ended up just being a lot more misery and darkness instead of climbing out into the light.
Hornswoggle is quite a. I haven't heard that one. Yeah,
I've been bamboozled.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, I mean, as it turns out, the light at the end of that tunnel was in fact a train.
It was the train. Maybe the lane train.
God. Yeah, man. There's a certain point where you can't get mad at the toddler for crashing the car.
Yeah.
You can get mad at me for climbing into the passenger seat and saying, "Go for it, kid. I believe in you." Because I should have expected this. I should have seen this coming. It's my fault. I apologize for anyone that I contributed in hornswoggling, as Steve put it. Because I don't know why. In my head, they were going to go in there and they're going to play well, and they just didn't. The defense played pretty well. I'll give the defense credit. They played well. They had a couple, obviously, rough moments. Like the David Sills touchdown was tough. Bijan Robinson's going to do Bijan Robinson stuff. We talked about that going in. Yeah. You handled him pretty well. I mean, like you held him in the range that I think you needed to. The Falcons didn't win that game. The Saints just said, here, go ahead and take it. Right? Started from the beginning. Gave away that fumble on a play. It wasn't even supposed to be a handoff. It wasn't even a failed handoff. It was a failed non-handoff. Like you were supposed to throw that ball, not hand it to him, and he knocked. And that's the first. Like the Falcons didn't do much. Kirk Cousins is exactly what I thought he was going to be, and the Saints. Like what made that game so frustrating is how winnable it was. If all the Saints did was score in the situations that you would expect NFL teams to score in 100% of the time, they win.
Like, you mentioned the start of the game. That was just gross because defense comes out again. Yay, 3-and-out. Second play, Saints fumble. And then it's basically another 3-and-out for Atlanta, but they're so close they get the field goal.
Yeah, and the Falcons, who found Zane Gonzalez hanging out at his crib 2 weeks ago.
Oh, he's making kicks.
We're more than confident sending him out there for a 56-yarder on that possession, and he nails it. And then a 54-yarder, I think, at the end of the half. And a 41 just for good measure. Meanwhile, the Saints can't chip it in. We'll talk about it.
38 and 45, was it?
47, I think.
47, okay.
Not that it makes it better. No, I mean, you had, just for perspective, right? You had a field goal from 38, a field goal from 47, and 2 drives where you ran plays from their 1-yard line, and those 4 possessions resulted in 3 points. 3.
That's nightmare fuel.
Even if all you do is kick the field goals, you should have had 12. Right? Even if, because like Kellen, I'm pretty sure would have just, if it was a 3-point game on that opening drive of the third quarter, Kellen would have been like, you know what, we got to get points here. Let's kick it from the 1 just to tie it, But like that's how winnable that game was. Like if all you did, you could have won that game kicking field goals, and instead, I don't even know where you go, man. And we'll talk more about it. But like the Saints did to the Falcons in the third quarter what the Rams did to the Saints in the third quarter. Like remember coming out of that Rams game, we were like, wow, the Saints defense just couldn't get off the field, and the Rams were able to take control of that game in the third quarter because the Saints ran 3 plays. The difference was the Rams scored a touchdown and then came back and scored another touchdown. Meanwhile, the Saints scored 0 points on a 15-play drive that took up most of the third quarter and then 3 points on a 15-play drive that took up the rest of the third quarter after a 3-and-out and a lot of the fourth quarter, a chunk of the fourth quarter. So that's, I mean, I don't blame people for being upset. Like, I blame myself for, they're starting to radicalize me. I'm starting.
Yeah.
Like, geez. I try to be even keeled, but like, how? How do you watch that and come?
You mentioned that, and that just stood out to me too, because of post-game show, you go over team statistics, player statistics, and you look at team stats, and it's like, wait a minute, they won first down. They were really close in yardage, and they won time of possession, yet they weren't close in the scoreboard.
Yeah. Okay. There's so much to talk about. I don't want to talk about any of it. I'm exhausted. These 3:00 games, I don't like them. Let's go back to noon. The one thing the NFL got right about the Saints is they were right to hide them in all these noon kickoffs because, man, that's not watchable football. But either way, let's hit
them. I like that.
I'm sorry, say that again.
You said to hide them. I like that.
Yeah, no one, avert your eyes. No one needs to watch this. But all right, again, this is Inside Black and Gold. We're going to come back. We're going to just go through kind of a rundown of our notes, thoughts, analysis, whatever in this next segment. Then stock down, a lot to say, stock up in the final segment, and then a quick mailbag to close things out. What you got, Steve?
We do have some tryouts coming to the Saints facility.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
I have thoughts. I have some thoughts. But all right. Who dat? Go Saints. We'll be right back. And we are back on Inside Black and Gold. Jeff Nowak here alongside Steve Geller. And we're going to get into the Tell Me Why You Mad segment, because it's really all the segments are going to be basically Tell Me Why You Mad segments. But
yeah, there's nothing happy today.
No. And there is some news, right? Alvin Kamara, we're going to have to get an idea of like what his knee injury is. Sounds like a sprained knee. So he did seem to avoid anything major, but it's not like he's going to miss some time. So we'll have to look at that. And then we're going to talk a lot more about Blake Grupe's actual game in the stock down segment. But for now, let's just talk about, okay, like you mentioned, to close out the cold open there, the Saints are setting up tryouts for kickers. It was something that, people would have liked to see a while ago. I know I held out longer than most, right? I think it was fair to give the guy a chance to work through some struggles, and seemed like he had. There were some red flags along the way, but whatever. That's just a game that kind of is like you have to do something. You just absolutely can't sit here and be like, all is well. He's going to figure it out. He's not going to figure it out. At least not here. So my only issue is the name on this list, because you're talking about Cade York. That's not the name I have an issue with. Former LSU kicker who was a top hydra. I think he was a 4th-round pick of the Browns. Just couldn't get it figured out.
Yeah,
he's got a great leg. And then Justin Tucker, who is freshly off of the suspended list due to multiple sexual assault allegations from massage therapists and blah, blah, blah. Stop me if you've heard this one before. And he is the player the Saints are bringing in for a tryout. Why? I cannot tell you. It seems foolish and
don't we have enough bad press right now?
You would think that at 2-9, you would understand that like PR is more important to you than anything. And that's even beyond like the morality of anything. Like, why would you even invite that conversation around a team that's like, it's like you let the playoff bound teams sell their souls for some field goals. Okay. Like Justin Tucker's going to kick again in the NFL. It shouldn't be here. It shouldn't be now. And I will give the team the benefit of the doubt, not that they have earned it, but I think there's a possibility that these tryouts are more about having a ready list. And I'd hope that the plan would be to go with Charlie Smith off the practice squad, because why the hell not? Like, seriously, why the hell not? He's been sitting there twiddling his thumbs, being a good teammate for 2 years now. And what's the fear that he goes out there and misses his kicks? Well, that's what's happening anyway.
Right.
So, like, my hope is that they're just establishing a ready list in the if he goes out there and just biffs like 5 extra points and you're like, this isn't it, that you'll have a guy you can call up. I still don't know why you would have Justin on that list, and people could disagree with that, like whatever. I would be very, very critical of this organization if they brought him in, just like I would have been very, very critical of the organization if they brought it they traded for Deshaun Watson way back when. Like, maybe I could have been more critical. I had people saying I wasn't critical enough at the time, like whatever. I feel like I was pretty loud about it on this podcast. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes. It's just like, how tone deaf can you be?
That's what immediately came to my mind. It's not like you mentioned. I do think Tucker's going to kick again eventually in the league, but there's no reason for it to be here in New Orleans. You got a guy that's been on your practice squad that you know all about. Why not give him the run? And like you mentioned, the PR fiasco, you got enough people disliking this team that wear your colors, your emblem, and support this team despite their hatred of the ownership and front office. And this move just screams, like you mentioned, with tone deafness. I was just like, are the Saints trying to troll us in the media right now with these stories?
This season is miserable enough to watch from close range. Can you not make me have to? Can I at least just talk about football? Like, you're going to force the media to have to like litigate this for you? Anyway,
I have been having a good time. Side note on social media, Jameis 1 of 1 is having a field day.
I'm sure, yeah. And like, here's the thing: like, I don't know Justin Tucker. I don't know much about Justin Tucker or the story beyond the kind of the Cliffs notes that I've kept track of throughout this whole process. I do know he's a great kicker. I do know he's 36 years old, right? Like, just don't do it. Just don't.
And he was struggling before he got let go.
And he's coming off a bad year.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't hate to see Cade York. I think, if they did sign a guy from the tryout and it's Cade York, I'd be okay with that. If they were like, you know what, we're just going to give Charlie a little more time in the oven, and maybe we can figure out Cade York. Because this is a guy, like, if everyone remembers him back at LSU kicking through the fog and against Florida from 57 yards out, like, the kid's got a bionic leg. Just, and maybe, and we've seen that before, right? Like, guys really struggle in 1 or 2 spots and they show up somewhere and they figure it out. Maybe Cade is that. I don't know. Either way, that's where you are. I would be stunned if the Saints don't have a new kicker next week. They'll definitely have a kicker. But that's all I have to say on that subject. Like, the Saints for years have put their foot in their mouth or I don't even know. That's the right way to say it, but like, they clearly just don't read the room very well in these situations. So
definitely a big foul from the black and gold after the hideous loss. And then you see this news, you're like, yeah, they're trying out kickers. And then you're like, wait a minute, Justin Tucker?
Right. It's like, finally, wait, no.
No, wait.
There's some memes out there.
Frank Kohler.
Yeah. But all right, let's move on from that. We'll talk more about Groupies Day. But I think the funny thing that I've seen coming out of that game was everyone being like, wow, Kirk Cousins still got it. I couldn't disagree more. I think Kirk Cousins looked exactly what I expected him to look like in that game. We talked about going in, how like I felt like the deep ball wasn't going to be his issue. Like, deep balls, like, yeah, you need some arm strength, but a lot of it is about timing and trajectory and putting the ball where it needs to be, not necessarily driving the ball. The arm strength throws are the 10 to 15 yard throws over the middle of the field or to the edges of the field, where you got to get that ball through a window on time or something bad could happen, right? Like, a deep ball, those rarely get intercepted. And when they do, they're not really dangerous because it's basically a punt. If Kool-Aid plays that better and makes a play on it, intercepts it, they get the ball at like the 5. So it's really not that dangerous of a throw. But one of the few times you saw Kirk try to drive the ball over the middle of the field through traffic, Kool-Aid McKinstry tips it up. Justin Reed intercepts it for a touchdown. Like, I saw, if you go back and watch that game, you'll see throw after throw after throw where it's like this ball's fluttering to the sideline, and some of them got caught. One of them, Darnell Mooney, rescued like with his like off his shoelaces. And that's what made it frustrating is like if you put the tiniest bit of pressure, not like defensive pressure, just scoreboard pressure on the Falcons offense to deliver and actually put up points, I think they would have crumbled. But the Saints offense just refused to allow that to be a question. I don't think the Falcons are going to win many more games this year. But I guarantee you they think they are based on that result. And I'll tell you, like, a lot of teams are going to go away feeling good about themselves after playing the Saints.
That's sadly true. And I mean, the biggest thing that hit me with this game, Jeff, was just how lacking this roster is. I knew they needed help everywhere. We talk about with this NFL draft coming up, but in a game that I thought you were going to be competitive and you did. You had a chance to win. There's so many issues where I'm just concerned with the rest of the way going forward, where that hope I had, even I felt like it was fool's gold what we got a glimpse of in Carolina.
I think that's what made it so demoralizing is like you had the game in Carolina where you came away feeling like, okay, I think there was something here. Like you had the week off where all you had was the positivity. I'm like, maybe we have the quarterback. And it's on me for thinking like, oh, it's always going to be good. And but like the fans were hot. Like all you can ask for fans of a 2-8 team are to show up and be loud, and that's what happened. It was not a stadium full of Falcons fans, despite what they want you to believe with their really sad-looking parade on Canal Street or wherever that was, like 100 people. Like there was not many Falcons fans in that building. The Saints fans were loud. They were loud enough to force back-to-back false starts early in the game. And you gave them nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like
that's one thing too that's bothersome. We talked about in training camp, Jeff, the inability to finish, and we're now past week 12, and that's still a major issue, is not being able to finish.
Yeah, I mean the Saints went into that game with the worst red zone conversion percentage in the NFL by a wide margin, by like 8, and then went 0-3. So it only went down. Like right. they're on the fringe of setting records.
Yes, same with scoring offense. You were at 15.5 points. Now you're down to 15.
Yeah, we talked about this going in. You have the lowest first quarter scoring in the NFL and the lowest fourth quarter scoring in the NFL. They actually did put up 3 points in the fourth quarter of this game. That's about their average, which is not how you win games. Anyway, it is what it is. I don't have, Tyler Shough's going to be an interesting conversation because I don't really have him in the stock up or stock down. It's tough to gauge. Like I do want to talk about the pressure, how they handle it, but like,
yes.
What were your thoughts on Tyler's day in general?
Nothing was as cohesive clearly as that Carolina game, and just there was no, I don't want to say urgency, but the rhythm, the flow of the game wasn't there for it.
Yeah, it looked like the Spencer Rattler games that I did not enjoy.
Right, yeah.
Not the good Spencer Rattler games. There were a few good Spencer Rattler games, but there was several Spencer Rattler games where I was just like, this sucks. Not because Spencer's playing bad, because the offense sucked.
Yeah, and we're going to get down a lot of this with the stock down category, I'm sure, but I'm starting to think it's not Spencer or Shough.
Yeah, I mean, I would be curious to see if you put Spencer in there, if he would have handled it better. But no, I mean, like this was very simple. We've seen this game, right? The Saints have played this game before. The only difference was Kellen actually got aggressive and went for it on fourth down instead of kicking. But yeah, I mean, like I felt like it's his third career start, so you have to give some grace of like. And we talked about this going in. It wasn't always going to be perfect. I think that's what the danger that Panthers game gave you was like 2 weeks to feel like this is always going to be the case. I thought he was a little inaccurate at times. And that was one of the bigger differences in terms of why you were unable to extend drives early in the game. Is like, there was a diving catch by Juwan Johnson, which, good for Juwan. He caught the balls, but like that shouldn't have been a diving catch. Like, you forced Juwan to rescue the ball. It's like the opposite of what I was saying of like, okay, why were you able to generate off schedule and to get these big plays? Well, you gave him the ball where he could catch it, tuck it, turn, and get yardage. In this case, it's a 3rd and 8, and you force him to. It's a great picture. I'm sure Juwan's going to frame it and hang it on his wall. He's like fully extended parallel to the ground. It was a fantastic catch for a guy that, people say has hands of stone, but like it was a 6-yard catch on 3rd down because you didn't give him a chance to catch it and run. And so that was what I was, if I have, and we're not in the stock down segment because I don't think it merited enough to be like, I'm down on him. But that's where I felt like when Tyler was giving you an edge, it was because he wasn't making those type of throws. And, I talked to Newell and he said he felt like there was a bunch of drops. Like, I think they were quarterback produced drops. Like, there was a couple to Devin Neal that it was like, okay, he's a running back. You got to put the ball on him. You can't force him to like go try to rescue balls constantly. And there were a couple that he did. And he made some really nice catches on. There were a couple that he put on the ground, but like, I just felt like that was the biggest regression in that game for Tyler for me. Because I did think, he moved, he stepped up, like he continued to protect the ball reasonably well, other than that play action that he fumbled because I don't know who you really put that on.
This game compared to Carolina, there was no like wow or spark where you're like, all right, cool.
Right. He did run the ball. So I mean,
he's the leading rusher.
Well, yeah, I mean, I meant like in the 3rd quarter, like you established the run and you possessed the ball. And like, again, if you just finish off that drive for a touchdown, that game feels completely different. You didn't. So that is what it is. The offensive line was rough. Awesome Richards. Awesome Richards had a really rough day from what I could tell. Like, I have to go back and look, but like, that's why you don't want to be on your backup right tackle. The Falcons lead the NFL or second in the NFL in sacks. They might. Well, they're definitely not ahead of the Texans. The Texans are just going. Or the Broncos.
Definitely felt the right side had the biggest issues.
Yeah, I think there was pressure from everywhere. Like it's tough to say like it's one guy because like there was a couple defensive tackles getting in for sacks, and Deuce pointed out, and I think he's probably right, that there's over time, and this is what happens with young quarterbacks. Like you do stuff that people might not expect, and then teams adjust. Like I think what you saw in that game was the Falcons are like, okay, this guy likes to step up in the pocket, so we're not going to play him like we might play a rookie who's trying to escape to the edges. We're gonna stay in our gaps and be disciplined, and he's going to come right to us. And that's what happened on a couple of those sacks. Like he kind of just, not that he stepped up into the pressure, but like they are aware that that's how he's going to try to escape, and so they took it away. And I think he adjusted and started scrambling to the edges a little bit more. But it's just, I think that's just kind of one of those things that like, okay, why can a rookie have a little bit of success early on and then have to continue to build and rebuild and re-identify what he's going to do? Because once there's a book on you, you have to beat a team that does know what you're going to do rather than a team that's kind of you're catching off guard. And the best quarterbacks are the ones that it doesn't matter if they know what you like to do, you're going to still execute and win. And getting to that point is important. Like we've seen a lot of rookies have strong starts and then just kind of tail off. Like CJ Stroud this year is a good example. Like, you saw he lit the world on fire as a rookie. Does it not seem like the league has caught up to him a little bit? It's Jaden Daniels a little bit. Obviously he's hurt, but so we'll see. Like I don't think it's the end of the world. Like I don't think this was the type of blow up performance that you're like, oh no, he just doesn't have it. But it definitely, if your thought was that he was going to just set the league on fire from day one, that's not what happened in this game.
Because of the scenario of coming off the rest, you're back in the dome, making his first career start in front of Saints fans, and it was against the Falcons. Just everything was just a big fat pop on that balloon that was getting blown up with a little bit of hope, and now we're back to zero again.
Yeah, now we're back talking about draft picks,
right?
And that is kind of that's why I feel personally responsible for getting people's like trying to get people excited about like, oh, I think they can finish this season strong. Because at the end of the day, the bulletproof nature of this season is worst case scenario, you lose 1 billion games, you get a high draft pick, and you move forward, right? But like, because you got that little taste of like, this is how it's supposed to feel. This is what fun football is. You went into this game thinking like, they can do it. Why can't they do it? And then you remember, like, I am the, there's this kind of like football amnesia that happens to me every week where I wake up on Sunday and all I can think about are like, football's fun. Like, I'm excited. And then I get out there and it's like midway through the second quarter, I'm just like, this is miserable. And I always forget. Like, next week, I'm going to go out to Miami and I'm going to watch them in warmups and everyone's going to be running around like, wow, how can't they win? They look so fantastic. And then the game's going to start. And I'm like, oh, man, now that's right. Now I remember. But I could watch football for the next 40 years and stay on the sideline. And every Sunday morning, I will fool myself into thinking it's going to be good, even when it's like obviously not.
That was the biggest, I guess, I can't even say slap in the face. It was definitely the big, like a punch to the gut. It was just that little bit of hope I was carrying after the bye. It's now completely washed away from me. I'm sorry. It's dark doom and gloom the rest of the year. Let's see what we got, and let's make it to draft time.
Okay. So let's wrap up this segment quickly, but I do want to point out two things. One, what's the point of making a hip drop tackle illegal if you're just going to allow it to happen with no repercussions? Maybe Caden Ellis gets fined. I don't know, but like that was a hip drop tackle that injured Alvin Kamara. That's the only way you can describe it. That's why they got rid of it, because it's almost impossible to get tackled like that and not go down awkwardly.
I still haven't seen the replay, but definitely a lot of folks mentioned that in the post-game show.
I mean, it wasn't your traditional hip drop because he wasn't chasing him down, so he didn't like pull forward and hip drop, but he kind of slid around him. And like that's just a dangerous way to tackle a guy, and that's why they tried to get rid of it. But it's like you never see that flagged. So why is it a penalty? Again, who knows? Maybe they'll fine him, but that's why they tried to get rid of it, and they just have not adjudicated it. First, second, I did see some bad takes about Dante Pettis, so I do want to clear the air on that. When you are a punt returner, if the ball hits the coverage team, if the ball hits anyone on the coverage team, regardless of the scenario, you should always pick it up and try to run with it, right? Like that last punt return, I saw people be like, what the hell is he doing? The ball hit a Falcons player, so the correct thing to do, even if the coverage is right on you, is pick it up and try to make a miss, because if they tackle you, the ball goes right back. You could fumble it for a touchdown, doesn't matter. The ball's going to go back to where that ball was first touched. The only thing that can change is if you return it further, then you get better field position. So like in that situation, a lot of times the coverage might relax and you can pick it up and run, and suddenly you're out. So like that was actually a smart play by Dante Pettis. And it's one of those kind of quirky rules where if you didn't know any better, you would think, oh, I can't believe he did that. So like, and I saw at least a couple tweets of like, get Dante Pettis off this team. And I was like, because he made a really heads up play and it didn't work. Like it didn't benefit you. I don't know. So I did want to clear that up, because I do think that's one of those rules that, like, if you're not paying attention, can seem like a really stupid bonehead play. And then you kind of remember that it actually was a smart play.
We got plenty of other stupid stuff to talk about.
Yeah. I should have saved that up for the stock up segment. Anyway. All right. That's it. Anything else you want to mention before we go to the more negative stuff?
Put the black helmets in the trash compactor.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I actually didn't hate that jersey combination. Like, I think
no, it wasn't bad.
They're
still winless in the black helmets.
Knowing that they're not going to throw them in the trash compactor, my take would be that they should build out an alternate looking color rush set with the same design as the white color rush jersey, just do it in black and kind of invert it. And then you can have the black helmet with that set and the white helmet with the white color rush set. And then that can be kind of your home road alternates that you wear however many times a season.
Can we get the little fleur-de-lis off the black helmet?
I was about to say, and while you're doing it, just pull that weird tape off the top, and we can just ride it out like that. Because I did think that, like, again, knowing that they're not going to just throw the black helmets in the trash, that's the combination I want to see it used with when it's used.
Yeah, I mean, the all black look, the all white looks, it's sleek. It flows better than the white jersey, black helmet combo was just, to me, awful.
It's terrible.
And I don't know if we're ever going to see the tan jerseys again.
I'm sorry, the orange. The orange was
the orange jerseys.
The orange. I went back and listened. I did say orange twice. And I was like, wait, what? In what unit? Like, I've never even in my head thought of it as orange. But for whatever reason, in that moment, I said orange. I don't know. The Saints are breaking my brain.
That's easy.
But all right. Who dat? Go Saints. We're going to come back to a stock down segment and close things out with the stock up players. Who dat? Go Saints. We'll be right back. And we are back on Inside Black and Gold. Jeff Nowak here alongside Steve Geller, and we're getting into the stock down players, the duds as relative to the studs from the Saints-Falcons Week 12 matchup. Saints lost 24-10. Saints did that in several different kinds of embarrassing ways. And so it's really just a question of which one we want to start with. Steve, I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to talk about the kicking game or the red zone game first?
I think the red zone game, just because it's the most troubling and the kicking game has been consistently bad too this year, but overall not getting to the end zone is the biggest problem for this team. I don't care what anyone can say right now.
Yeah, I did the same thing in my stock up column, but it's only because like 7 points is worth more than 3.
There you go. Right. That's my rationale too.
Like you had 4 failed scoring opportunities. 2 were for 6 points. 2 were for 14 points, right? So like, that's why I stuck with the red zone. And it's also just a continuing trend that's been there all year. And the Saints are down to 34.4%, 34.5% conversion percentage in the red zone in terms of touchdowns. They are a full 10 percentage points lower than the 31st team. That's Houston. Which Houston has like the league's best defense, as we saw on Thursday night, and they completely torched Josh Allen. I think they had like 7-8 sacks in that game. They're at 44%. That's the second lowest. The Saints are 34%. They're 10 full percentage points lower. And it's only going down. You had 3 red zone trips in this game. The first was the Mason Tipton return for 75 yards, and then you went 3 and out real quick, and that was the first missed field goal. The second was that 15-yard, I keep saying 15-play drive to open the third quarter. You got down to the 1-yard line, ended on a failed Taysom Hill pass attempt, which I'm going to go in on. And then the next one was obviously the next 15-play drive that got you down to the one that ended on a failed Taysom Hill rep with a bad snap over his head, and you kicked the 33-yard field goal. That's the loudest I've ever heard Saints fans boo a kicker, whether it's home or opposing. But yeah, I mean, what were your kind of take? Like, it's so demoralizing to watch a team that feels like they're running into a brick wall at the 1-yard line. It's the third time in 2 weeks that's happened to them. It happened against the Panthers as well. They did kick a field goal to end that drive from the 2-yard line. But what was your kind of takeaway on that?
I didn't think the pass protection was great. The run game has been a nightmare all year. And just even for me, I really had a problem. I'm sad to say I'm siding with a lot of hoodats out there with play calling. I don't know what the hell Kellen's doing.
The Taysom Hill stuff, man, like the Taysom Hill offense is this year has become what everyone said it was over the first like 5 years, which is just this kind of gimmicky offense that doesn't really work. It's not fooling anybody. And the difference was from like 2019 through 2024. he was still getting those yards. Like, it was like, you can say, I don't like taking the quarterback off the field and doing it, but you're averaging 4 or 5 yards a clip. Like, you're scoring at an elite rate in the red zone. Like, yeah, okay, it works.
Right.
This year, it's been nada. Like, you had that one touchdown against, was it the Giants? I can't remember who Taysom scored a touchdown against. It was in the Superdome. It was a red zone touchdown. But other than that, it just has not been effective. And you just keep going to it. I actually thought from a high red zone perspective, I didn't have an issue with it. And I actually thought from the high red zone, the Saints, other than that first drive, executed pretty well, right? Like, one of the funny things about red zone stats is like really should be separated high red zone, low red zone, because a third and 10 from the 16 is a much different scenario than first and goal from the 5 or third and goal from the 5, right? And I think the smart thing the Saints did was prioritize getting from the high red zone to the low red zone. And they did that, right? They got first, the second drive, they had first and goal at the 5. Like, that's the ideal scenario. They just didn't score from there. And when you were in the goal to go scenarios, or more specifically, snaps from inside the 10-yard line, you had 9 plays in those scenarios because two of them came before that first down. Taysom Hill got 5 of them. Tyler Shough was off the field for, I believe, 4 of those. Tyler Shough was not credited with a pass attempt in the red zone in this game. And you got there 3 times. One of them, they called it an RPR, which isn't something I've heard before, but it's apparently it's a play. It's basically an RPO, but the second R is a read. So, like, it's either a pass or quarterback run as opposed to a pass handoff, which is typically what it would be. So they call it an RPR. So, like, that was technically a play. He could have thrown the ball. They took it away. He ran it. That was the first red zone trip. But, like, why are we trying to make the Taysom Hill offense your red zone offense? And in reality, the red zone offense has actually gotten worse since Taysom come back. The while, you're 2-8, 2-9. And, like, what are we doing? Don't you need to figure out if this quarterback can get it done? Because I don't think you can decide whether a quarterback has the juice or not unless he can get it done in the red zone, unless you know whether he can or he cannot. Think about Derek Carr, right? Derek Carr was actually elite when it came to moving the ball in between the 20s, right? Like, you saw that all the time. Derek Carr, like, 300-yard games were happening with Derek Carr because he could move the ball in between the 20s. It wasn't until you got in the red zone that the wheels came off, pun fully intended. And that was the story of Derek Carr. That's how you knew he was not an elite quarterback, because he couldn't get it done in those critical situations. Well, how do you even know about the rookie if you're just going to take the ball out of his hands 50% of the time?
Yeah, that's you mentioned the fact of, in the past, it was like, all right, bringing Taysom in was that change of pace or the gimmick that people made fun of, but it worked. And now it's not. And now I am having a problem. Like you're mentioning, you got a quarterback. We're trying to find out if he is that guy for you, and you're not giving him this opportunity. That's why I'm so confused with how this thing runs.
Yeah, but if you didn't know any better, you would think Kellen Moore invented Taysom Hill the way he's so stubbornly trying to use it.
Sticking with him.
He didn't invent Taysom Hill. He inherited Taysom Hill. And, like, I say it as a joke, but at a certain point, I start to wonder if there's some kind of Mormon imperative to keep Taysom Hill involved. Like, it's so strange. And like, again, the Taysom Hill offense this year has become what everyone said it was. Taysom Hill got 10 carries for 17 yards. He averaged 1.7 yards per carry. He had 2 pass attempts. Only one was legitimate because the second one was the botch snap that he threw away.
Right.
So it was a pass attempt, but it wasn't really. And it was a smart play. If he had just taken 2 more steps, it would have given them a chance to go for it on 4th down. Which I don't know if they would have, but, like, it was the right decision. He just needed to get, like, slightly further out of the tackle box so he could throw it away. Either way, like, that was the second pass attempt. Like, 4th down against the Rams, you took Tyler Shough off the field, put Taysom Hill in, did not convert. 4th down against in the red zone, 4th down and goal against the Falcons, you take Tyler Shough off the field for a Taysom Hill pass play, and it's a turnover on downs. And third down and goal from the 1, you take Tyler Shough off the field for a Taysom Hill rep that was supposed to be a run, and you don't convert and you kick a field goal. Like, he's not going to be here next year. Like, this is not the future of your offense. And I don't know if Tyler Shough is the future of your offense either, but there's only one way to find out, and that's by giving him those chances. So yeah. And like Kellen will say, like, the numbers are an advantage, and he's right. Like, to get that extra blocker on the field, it should be an advantage. But the offensive line is not getting any push in the run game. So maybe
there's
try
too many
something.
times now, Jeff. I'm saying at least, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah. It's and I feel bad because, you know, I texted you before I went and listened to Bobby's rant last night, because I was like, I know exactly what he's going to say.
How are you going to win if you can't
I don't
score
know.
points?
I don't know. Don't you got to score points to win? Every time. And it's like accurate every time. I knew he was going to say it because it's the same exact scenario we've seen play out over and over and over again. 3 points against the Bucs, 10 points against the Rams, right? 13 points against the Seahawks. That was an offensive explosion by the Saints standards this year. So I don't know. Like, Kellen's got to and here's the thing. Kellen is a first-year head coach. There is some level you have to bake in of, like, he's going to make mistakes. It's not going to be perfect. Yeah. There will be some development over time of, like, how things. Can you get better as a play caller? Can you get better as a play sequencer? Can you get better as a game planner? Yes, absolutely. I just don't see that happening, and that's what's frustrating. Now, that can happen year over year, not necessarily game to game, but I just don't see the improvement there from week to week.
No, I'm there too. It's like issues with timeouts or certain scenarios, okay, but just overall, I know this offense is his baby, and it's just a lot of poo-poo in the diaper and not getting changed.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Man, the stats are so obnoxious to look at.
Yeah. Everything about this game's obnoxious.
78 plays to 55 plays. They only threw for 181 yards. You won the turnover margin. You had a pick 6. You won the time of possession by 5 minutes. 6
had
minutes.
A 75-yard punt return.
You had a 75-yard kickoff return, but yes.
Kicker return, yeah.
And you weren't even in it. You had 21 first downs of their 13. They went 3 of 12 on third down. You went 5 of 16. Man. All right, yeah. So red zone, it's been a problem all year. It's continuing to be a problem. My only thing I can say is, like, if you're gonna suck in the red zone, at least suck with the rookie quarterback so you can say you're working to something. You're getting better. Because if you're gonna fail, I'd like to fail with the guy that I need to figure out if he's good or not.
I can't believe it, Jeff. I used to be pounding the table for more Taysom touches, and I'm in agreement. Less Taysom is more right now because he ain't getting it done.
Well, see, like, I think there's room for Taysom in this game plan, and he did serve an important role in this game when Alvin Kamara went out. He was your second running back, and you needed him. And, like, he picked up a lot of assignments that he wouldn't normally pick up, and I didn't see him blow any situation. So there's that. And I do think, like, the short yardage in the middle of the, like, if you're at the 50-yard line and you're talking 4th and 1, like, that's the best play I can think of is Taysom. He's going to get that inch or two. And what makes that part of the field more effective is they have to at least respect the fact that you can just toss it over the top for a long touchdown. And you don't want to sacrifice a 50-yard touchdown to load up at the line. And one of these times it's going to happen and he's going to throw it and it's going to go for a big play. So, like, I don't mind it in that part of the field. I think that is your best 4th and short, 3rd and short offense there. But at the goal line, it's not, because at the goal line, they don't have to worry about you going over the top. And like, I don't think Taysom is the guy from at this point that you want to say, like, he's going to throw it in the red zone. Like, no, that's dangerous. A lot of bodies in there. If Taysom's throwing it, that guy better be wide open. And that's, I think, the issue is you're treating it like they have to defend it, but there's really not that much room for them to have to worry about. So, yeah. Taysom's not going to be on this roster next year. I bet you any sum of money that he's not going to be on this roster next year.
That's another thing. It's like, yeah, what are we trying to work for with him right now? I just everything none of the pieces seem to fit right together right now.
No, it's a lot of banging your head against the wall.
Yeah.
All right, moving forward, Blake Grupe. We talked about the kicker tryouts. We'll see how that goes. I really would hope that it's just going to be Charlie Smith, and that's more about a ready list than necessarily guys you're going to bring in. Because, like Charlie's done what you asked him to do. He's been sitting there twiddling his thumbs, working. Like, if you're not going to give him a chance now, when are you going to give him a chance? Like,
right. What are you developing him for? Why is he this international guy you got?
Well, and the fact is, yeah, one of the reasons it's tough to get him in the game is because he's never kicked in a high leverage situation. Well, at this point, the season's over for you. You are never going to have a lower leverage regular season game than you have over the next 5-6 weeks. Like, and if he comes out and he just is gangbusters, then fantastic. You look like a genius. If he misses kicks, at least you gave him a chance. But like, what do you benefit from not giving him a chance? It just, I don't know. I think it looks bad if, and like, why would any player sitting on the practice squad be like, oh yeah, okay. Like, it's got to be that. Either way, like, there's a handful of those kicks that were missed over the first several weeks of the season. Like the Giants game, you won that game. You missed 2 kicks, but you won that game. So it's like, it didn't cost you the game. In this game, those kicks, in my opinion, cost you this game. Because you could have won kicking field goals in this game. And at the very least, you would have forced the Falcons to do things that they're uncomfortable with. Like, that game should have been tied 13-13 in the final minute. When you kicked it back, it should have been 13-13 in the final minute of the first half. Instead, it was 13-7, and they went down and kicked the field goal into a 2-possession game. Like, that changed how you operated the rest of the game. And like, I would have raged against it, but I wouldn't have surprised me at all if they ended up, if that open long drive of the third quarter, they kick a field goal because Cullen's like, I want to get points to tie the game at 16, right? Like, and then suddenly it's a 16-16 game, like late in the third quarter, and Kirk Cousins has to deliver, and I don't believe that he was going to. So like, I didn't, and I hung out. I hung on longer than most. I wasn't against the decision to give him an opportunity to work through his struggles. It really wasn't. Like, I think teams are often too quick to just jettison players that are having a rough patch. And he did make 7 of 8 kicks, so it wasn't like he was just shanking stuff coming in. And most of his misses have been like narrow misses. So it's not like he's just like duck hooking stuff, but there were also some red flags during that period. Like, the one miss was 53 yards in Chicago, but that was the only miss. That was the only attempt from 50 plus. And there were several instances where the Saints could have attempted 53-yarder, 56-yarder, 58-yarder. And they just said, nah, I'm good. Like, they turned down a 58-yard attempt in the Superdome. And I think that's about protecting your kicker's psyche more than anything else.
I haven't looked at it enough to know, but I'm starting to wonder. Yesterday, is there something wrong with the process? Is the snap, the hold, leading up to the kick, is in the whole lead up to Grupe kicking the ball, is something happening?
I mean, if it was, and you would have had to, if it was, and not figuring it out by now, is on the kicker, right? Because like the holder's going to do what the holder does. You watch the kicks, and I don't see anything wrong with these holds. So it's not like I think one of the snaps was high, but either way, like, it is what it is. Like, you got to make these kicks. A 38-yard kick should not miss.
Right.
And it's just, it's frustrating because, you like Blake Grupe. He's a good dude. He's a team captain for a reason. Like, he's a good teammate. But you're missing your kicks. And that is your primary job. Make your kicks. Man,
you traded a captain, and now you're about to cut one.
Yeah, you're going to be down to 6 captains.
Only
and
6.
We'll see. Like, it's not a given. It's not a guarantee. We're talking about this like it's a guarantee. Would you really be stunned if they're just like, we're going to stick with Blake?
Yeah, I would.
I'd like to say I would. But this team does
with the
stuff
surprising, I know what you're saying here, but it doesn't make any rhyme or reason why you wouldn't move on, or at least give Charlie the opportunity. I'm all aboard with that just because he's been putting in the work here. There's this issue right now that you need correcting. And hell, we have a guy right here that's been around. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. If I'm making the decision, that's what I'm doing. I'm just saying it would not shock me if they were just like, you know what, we're going to stick with Blake. Because that's just what this organization does. They do stuff all the time that you're just like, why? What are you doing, man?
Or let's sign Justin Tucker, and then we have TMZ Sports coming to visit and do interviews.
Gosh, I hope that doesn't happen.
Right.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, it's so annoying to me because I just feel like the Saints front office is so insulated and disassociated from the fan base that they don't even realize stuff like if you send Charlie Smith out there and he makes like one kick, he's going to be a fan favorite instantly. And you'll go from boos off your kicker in the Superdome to like the loudest cheers of your day is when the Irish kid runs out and makes a kick. Like, and it's like they don't even realize that. And like, no, you shouldn't make roster decisions based on like what's the best PR move. But I don't know. Sometimes when you're 2-9, you just have to be like, what are the fans going to enjoy? At least I feel like it should be.
And what do you have to lose at this point? Nothing.
Right. And what's the downside? You miss kicks? Well, that's happening anyway.
The downside is, oh, well, Charlie's not the guy either. We're still looking.
Yeah, but and the upside is, well, you got a guy who could make like 65-yarders routinely. Not that you're going to attempt them because Kellen's never going to run him out there for a 65-yarder as long as he lives. But I think Kellen would throw a Hail Mary before he attempted a 70-yard kick, even though he shouldn't. Not throw it, but he would call for it.
Yeah.
You get the idea. At some point in his life, he would have thrown it. But yeah, so that's just where it is. And I don't want to trash Blake. Like I like Blake. Like he's a good dude and I think he's going to land somewhere. He's going to be a kicker again in the NFL. He's going to get another chance and it's going to be annoying because he's probably going to go out there and be great, but he's not going to be, I've lost faith that he's going to figure it out.
Right. Somehow he'll end up in the division and haunt us.
Yeah. Right. And he said it wasn't mental. Like, I don't know how it couldn't be mental. How can it not be mental? If you're going in practice every week and knocking them through, and then you go into a game and you're just missing, like it's something. So it's not physical.
It just bothers me, Jeff, because people say that training camp's a mirage. You can't believe what you're seeing in training camp. And this to me is the mind blowing one of how different can training camp be from regular season kicking? What's so different? Except, like I said, the snap kick, the hold and the kick, something's going wrong in the process to me. I don't know though if that's fact.
It's the kick. It's the kick. I'm sorry. It's the kick. Like you got to make these kicks. I don't care what the hold is. You got to make the kicks. And it's not like this is the first time, like it's repeated, and the thing is, like, again, the 7 of 8, and I think I can't remember who asked, but someone asked Phil Galliano, like, what's been the key to the turnaround? And in my head, I was like, you've been kicking from 30 yards away. Like, yeah, you're going to make your kicks when you're kicking from the 2-yard line, or you're deciding I'm going to kick a field goal at the 2-yard. That's what it was against the Panthers. He was 1 for 1 against the Panthers with a kick from the 2-yard line, which was a 20-yard kick. So anyway, that's that. I think I had one more. Let's see. What was my one more stock down? Oh, it was pressure. It was this. If there's a very clear trend with the Saints offense, and it is anytime you go up against a top end pressure team, they fold like a cheap suit, which I know about. Well, I know a lot about because all my suits are cheap, and I fold them.
That's that radio budget.
But like you look at, okay, so who are these teams, right? Seahawks, high, they generate a lot of pressure with their front four. Not a heavy blitz team, but a good pressure team. 13 points, and that's misleading because you kicked from the 3-yard line in that game. Bucks, another team that sends a lot of pressure on blitzes, like the Falcons. 3 points. Todd Bowles is the Falcons are up there second behind only the Vikings at 44% blitz rate. The Bucks are third at about 35%. And the Bucks, it's just the NFC South, man. It's fucking NFC South. It's going to be a losing record winning that division again. And the Saints are going to be nowhere near it. Anyway, so yeah, you scored 3 points in that game. It was very similar to this one where it's just like, it's all dink and dunk and slow and you don't have anything going. Rams, similar situation, heavy pressure team, similar to Seahawks game, 10 points. You know, you had that one drive before halftime. Otherwise, you really didn't do much at all. And then obviously this game, 10 points, heavy blitz team. So it's like in games where you have to handle pressure at a higher rate than average, Kellen Moore's offense kind of goes into a shell. You average like 3 yards per play and 3 yards per pass. And that's what you have. You have, and at its best, you have that 15-play drive that ends with a field goal. You know, like that's, and then it's just not good. It's just not good. And I don't know if part of that's probably an inexperienced quarterback, maybe not handling the pressure as well. Part of it's the offensive line not being elite, right? If you had Eric McCoy, maybe things would look cleaner. But that's my stock down is like this Kellen Moore's offense cannot handle pressure. It also can't handle the goal line, and I wonder how much of that is like when they were in Philadelphia, like Kellen Moore devised this whole offensive plan. He never had to worry about a single goal line play because it was always the tush push.
That was it. That's the play.
Now it's like, well, we got to figure out something else, and they have not.
Did you see who was it? Somebody had a fake tush push yesterday that was beautiful.
Yeah, I think it was the Steelers.
Yes, you're correct.
Jalen Warren, maybe? Or no, yeah. Gainwell. It was Gainwell. There's been a couple of those. Mark Andrews had a fake tush push for a long touchdown, which is like Mark Andrews is not that fast. So it was impressive that I think it was like a 35-yard touchdown. I only know because I haven't in fantasy, but yeah. So that's only going to make it more frustrating for teams.
I'm just waiting. When Kellen was hired, offensive genius, that term was tossed around. I'm waiting to be enlightened by this genius still, please.
Yeah, so far it's just been offensive. I'm sorry. So far it's just been offensive genius.
You can't argue with worst scoring team in the league. You got to score to win.
all those good team stats that I talked about in the last couple episodes. And the Saints are all the way down toward the bottom. Yeah. I mean, you can't be the worst offense in the NFL and expect to win games. At least not statistically, which is what the Saints are. Anyway.
6 more games left, Jeff.
I do also want to mention, Phil Galliano, I feel like got the special teams group turned around for a period of time. It was rough in this game. Like, obviously, you had the missed kicks. You did have the long kick return, so you got to give Mason Tipton credit. But there was also, right after you cut the margin to 6 points, immediately allow like a 46-yard kickoff, which they got rescued by a taunting penalty on Felipe Franks, which, Felipe, you provide nothing. You cannot get penalties. Like, that's not taunting penalties. And then the next punt was Kai Kroger, or the next special teams opportunity was Kai Kroger having his weekly 32-yard kick, which again got rescued on a 10-yard penalty, a holding penalty. So like, if it like that just can't happen. And it's happening too much. Like, I think you're going to have an overhaul on the special teams this offseason. I think that's what's going to, like, every offseason when you have a bad team, like, you have to make some changes. And I do think they feel like okay about the defensive staff. You might see some position coaches move on offense, but like I think special teams is where you're going to like, let's figure something out because this ain't working.
I'm wondering how much we're going to see with the offensive line. I know you're confident with your young tackles, but after that, what's going to be the status and health of Eric McCoy and then the other guys around at the guard position?
I do think it's funny. People keep talking about Brendan Nugent like he's a Saints holdover, but he was with Kellen in LA. It wasn't like, like Phil Galliano.
Because I guess he's back.
He's back, maybe. but right. That's because they work together. It's not like, like Phil Galliano is here because he was here before, right? He's a Dennis Allen holdover. That's not true with Brendan Nugent. Like, he brought Brendan Nugent in as the offensive line coach because he likes Brendan Nugent. Now, whether he's doing a good job or not is a different conversation. But either way. All right. That's it. Anything else? Any more stock downs that you want to hit before we move forward?
No, there was so much with the offense. I kind of just dumped it on Kellen on this week.
Fair enough. Can't be mad at that. I will say, like, I think Chris Olave has taken playing it safe a little too far. There was a couple plays in that game that it was like there was like 10, 15 yards to be had. And I'm all for getting down. I don't need him to be getting blown up over the middle of the field. There was a play that in the fourth quarter that like he had like 10 yards of green grass in front of him. He just like slid like a quarterback. And it was like, okay, there's got to be a middle ground here. Like, I understand if you're going over the middle of the field and there's going to be a safety coming in to take your head off and you want to get down quick, fine. Do that. I don't need you fighting for yards there. If all you have in front of you is green grass and you can just outrun that guy, outrun that guy.
This is who we're going to pay. Like, this is the wide receiver we're going to pay.
Yeah, we'll see. But all right. That's it for that segment. We're going to come back, talk about a few positive things. This is like one of the thinnest stock up segments I've written all year.
I don't blame you.
But I do have some, so I'm gonna talk about them. Again, you know, and normally we'll play clips. I don't want to hear from Kellen Moore or anyone. Like, I'm just so tired of it. So we're not going to play any clips.
You're not going to use your ops to play any audio?
You know, I will give Kellen credit. He did not say the word ops one time after that game. He did say opportunities, but he didn't say ops. And that was a well executed op by him to not annoy me.
It's funny when you're losing what ticks you off, and something like just abbreviating, to ops is kind of like, whatever, dude. I'm sick of hearing it.
That reminds me, I have one more stock down, and it's the us versus them segment. It's time to retire. It's bad. It's not bad because the content is bad. It's bad because when you are this bad as a team, you cannot troll the other team and have it be funny. It just looks petty and sad. Let's stop doing it. We can bring it back if the Saints are ever good again. For now, let's do some more giveaways. Like I send Theophilus, or I think his name's Theophilus, the in-game guy. Send him out there. Have him give away some gift cards or something. We don't need the us versus them. Let's move on. Let's retire it just like we retired Jimmy Buffett, because that didn't work either.
I was going to say, did you try to talk to Jimmy Graham while he was on the sideline and be like, you think he could come back for like a couple games?
I did not.
Sure could use you in the red zone.
Yeah, I don't have it. Yeah, it would be nice, right? Either way, okay. Who dat? Subscribe. We'll be right back.
To stock up.
Steve, when I say we'll be right back, I'm going to hit the button. You can't start talking.
To stock up we go, to infinity and beyond.
Okay, say what you were going to say. What were you going to say?
To stock up we go.
All right. Steve, I'm sorry I yelled.
I'm okay. I can handle it. I can handle it, coach.
Yeah. It's just tough coaching. It's what the Saints don't get. All right. And we're back on Inside Black and Gold. Jeff Nowak here. Alongside Steve Geller, we complained for about the first hour of this podcast. So let's talk about some of the nice things that happened. And there weren't many. And the first one and the biggest one for me, it's funny because it was kind of jarring because I watched the game and I came out of it being like, man, I think Devin Neal played pretty well. And then I look at the stats and he somehow only has 18 rushing yards on his 7 carries. Like, he had a long as 6. He had 2.6 yards per carry. But I don't care. I watched him play and I felt like he was playing well. And so I'm going to stick with that, even though that number is not thrilling to me. His biggest impact came in the receiving game. He was an important outlet for Tyler. A couple really nice catches on checkdowns. 43 yards on 5 catches, a long of 18. He also had that number should be better, but his last catch of the game was for -6 yards, which isn't on him. Tyler just gave him the ball in the worst possible situation. But I thought he had some juice. I thought he was playing hard, and Alvin, I would expect him at some time. I don't know how much time, but I don't think you sprain your knee and come back the next week. So we'll at least get a week or two of the Devin Neal backfield with the rookie kind of leading the charge. And I'm excited about it. I think he's going to be good. Like, I think Devin has something to him. He doesn't seem like the fastest guy, but then you watch him like outrunning DBs, and you're just like, oh, okay, he's got that little short area quickness that you need. He's can lower the shoulder into people. He's got that cool little triangle eye block that I like. 24 is a good number. So we'll see.
You're definitely more optimistic than me because this run game was abysmal with Alvin, and I just think we're in deep doo-doo now for sure without AK even around.
We'll see. I don't think Alvin was providing that much. I'm gonna be
no, not at all. Right.
And when Devin has gotten opportunities, I feel like Devin's going to be able to get 4-6 yards. I don't think he's going to be that explosive runner. I don't think he's going to be an elite pass catcher.
Shoot, I'd love 4 yards.
But I do think that he's going to be a good in between the tackles runner. And he and Tyler do seem to have a pretty good connection. They played a lot together on the scout team. So I don't know. We're getting to the point of the season that I would prefer to see Devin anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to see him develop and see if he can be either a lead back or a tandem back. And I don't know. I felt like that third quarter where the Saints realistically took control of that game. That's the weird thing is they controlled the entire third quarter. If they did to the Falcons what the Rams did to them. The Falcons had 3 plays in that third quarter, and the Saints dominated it. They didn't score. And one of the things that frustrated me is Devin was basically responsible for the first 40 yards of that drive on his own, and then they didn't give him the ball once in the red zone. Why not?
That's a question I asked many times with this Saints offense. Why?
Can you can't give him one of those carries, all those goal-to-goal situations, all those snaps from the 2 or the 1? You can't give one to the guy whose job is running the ball? It's just, I don't like that.
You mentioned with AK missing time, so you think we're going to see them bring up, I guess, Estime, or do they sign another person?
Estime's on the active roster. He just wasn't active for that game. So, yeah, I think Estime would be the second guy. Evan Hull's on the practice squad, so maybe you would elevate him. But they've gone into the last several games with just 2 running backs because they have Taysom as kind of that emergency option. So maybe that's what you do again if Alvin's not there. But, yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Estime at all in terms of what he's got to offer. He's a big guy. He's strong. He can be a blocker. Maybe he can be a short yardage guy. They haven't really had one of those in a while since Latavius Murray, really. So, but again, I'm trying to find things to be positive about. I thought that was, for what it was, a reasonably strong performance for Devin in his first extended run of his career. Hopefully he can build upon that. The Dolphins aren't exactly the stoutest run defense, as far as I can tell. So we'll see. But that's my first one.
I took an easy one for a stock up talk about with. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I thought you had the hand up. You wanted to add something. Like when I see that from Bobby, I know he's got one more little thing he wants to bring up.
No, I just gesticulate a lot, and you started talking, and so I kind of froze.
Oh, I was going to say my biggest stock up was, I mean, it's a guy that we talk about every once in a while, and we're like, oh yeah, he's pretty good because he's consistent and does it all the time. Demario Davis, man, still just a stud and showing why he is that elite linebacker on this team and leader all the way around. Just you're never going to see effort as a problem, and he just seems to be in the right place.
He's got 102 tackles through 11 games.
Yeah.
I think that's 9 tackles a game. Let's see. 9.3. So he is on pace for 158 tackles. Who's leading the NFL in tackles? He was third before. Let's see. Tackles.
Jordan Brooks has 125.
Wow, 125, man.
Yeah.
So he's not even in the top 5. He's right
No,
outside
7.
the top 5. I believe
Right.
102. Bobby Okereke and Devin White has 103 tackles.
Good for Devin White.
Yeah, but the Raiders suck, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a good example of like tackles a lot of times are misleading and
stats can lie.
Yeah, but at the same time, like we watch DeMario every week. Like he just makes plays, man. And his career high is 135, which he set last year. He's gonna break that. At age 36, he's going to set a new career high for the second consecutive year. And say what you want, like, yeah, maybe he's not making all the plays he would have made a few years ago. He's still an elite linebacker in this NFL. Jordan Brooks, 125 tackles. That's a lot. And he's always available. So, I agree. We've talked about this before. We almost never mention him because the standard for him is so high. So I'm glad you did. You remember to do it. I appreciate it.
Well, this one was an easy one because there's not many positives. And I was like, well, DeMario is one at least.
I'll give you one, and it's another veteran. And so it's, I gave Justin Reed grief earlier in the year about not delivering any of those kind of game-changing moments that we saw from Tyrann Mathieu so many times, right? Like that was like Tyrann would miss tackle over here now and then, but when you needed a big defensive play, you needed that takeaway, especially against the Falcons. He tweeted during the game that a majority of his interceptions with the Saints came against the Falcons. He was really proud of that. And I think I've pointed that out before. Like a lot of his big plays came in these matchups. And that's part of the reason I was like, he was built for this, because the big moments in these games just stand out. And at that point, like the Saints desperately needed a spark. Kool-Aid McKinstry pops the ball up. We talked about like Kirk Cousins' arm strength is shot, so he was able to get his hand in there, knock it up. Justin Reed catches it. But more importantly than catching the ball, he brought it back for a touchdown. You don't see a lot of 49-yard interception return touchdowns. Like they happen, but, it's tough. And, if you didn't know anybody, you would thought he was a running back out there. Like cutting back, juking. It was like a little Madden move. And, we talked about this. Like the Saints can't score in the red zone. Like if you get tackled at the 5, who's to say you get any points? So like that was getting that into the end zone was big. So, I don't know what the stock up is. The Saints were also terrible on that 2nd and 24 play where they immediately allowed the first down and then the touchdown to Darnell Mooney after like you get a team in 2nd and 24 and it's like they relaxed. They haven't handled screens particularly well. And Bijan's Bijan, so you kind of have to be like, all right, fine. It's like he's going to get his, but geez, any other time, man. But no, that was a good moment. That was a big moment for him. Like, I think he's going to be a part of this defense for the next several years. And I do think, reasonably speaking, if you want to try to be happy about anything on this team, I think the defense is coming along. I think it is getting better. I think they're settling in to this scheme. There's moments that you're just like, Jesus, get it. Oh, gosh. Like the Darnell Mooney touchdown, the David Sills touchdown, but like you're generating pressure. You got to Kirk 3 times. He didn't have to sit in the pocket like you would have hoped. So,
I had to look up David Sills. I'm like, who is this?
West Virginia, baby. He's a bigger dude. I mentioned him to Kevin on the pregame the pregame pod. And, he's like just a dude. He was on the Giants for a while. That's why I know about him. But yeah, so just not really a stock up so much as it's like that was a big play, and when they desperately needed a big play, and he delivered.
That was like the spark of the game for crying out loud. Yeah,
and along the same lines, Mason Tipton. One of my critiques of Mason Tipton is like he's a 4-3 guy, but you watch him play, and it's like, where is it? Like you watch him run around. He's a very violent runner, but like when he runs routes, it often seems like in a game like he's not at full speed. Like his game speed didn't match his sprinting speed. And in this game, at least on a couple instances, you saw that speed. Like that kick return, he didn't do anything fancy. He just hit the hole and was freaking gone. My only critique is that I wish he would have just blown up Zane Gonzalez. Like he kind of slowed down and tried to like work around him. Just run through him, dude. Like even if you fall, run through their kicker. Don't try to get cute. Lower he's going to stand there like a traffic cone. Treat him like one. run right the heck over him. And he didn't do that. He kind of got around him. He got to the 15-yard line, or 16-yard line, so it was like a really big moment. I just wish he had just blown up Zane Gonzalez. Either way, that speed really showed in there. He also had an end around or a whatever you want, jet sweep. I don't know exactly what it was. He came in motion. He took a kind of a belly handoff and went 11 yards. It was a 2nd and 10. Picked up a first down. The Saints don't get a lot of cheap first downs, so that was valuable. I think he also had 3 catches for like 24 yards, which is his first 3 catches of the season. He's going to have a much bigger role without Brandon Cooks, so it was nice to see him deliver on that. And finally, like, again, see that speed, because you hear about the speed, you just never see it.
Yeah, but another one on the stock up, you could say, list. Shout out to Cam Jordan for 126 sacks. He ends up now 19th overall on the career sack list, passing Dwight Freeney. So tip of the cap to Cam Jordan.
Yes, he leading.
And unfortunately, though, with that play, how come we can't hop on the fumble?
Wow. I mean, that just took a tough bounce. I think Kirk got it back. It's not like it was like one of those where everyone was chasing it and kicking it. Like Kirk kind of just fell on it. But yeah, that was a bummer because they kicked the field goal. Who is leading the Saints in sacks? It is Cam Jordan. Cam is tied with Carl Granderson, who, I don't know where Carl went.
He's disappeared, right?
So, like, we can complain about Cam Jordan all we want. He's old, he's washed, whatever. He's leading the team in sacks right now. Now, Chase Young will ultimately lead the team in sacks. He missed the first 5 games, so it's not like, he has 4. So, but considering the amount of snaps you give Cam, he's producing as much as you could hope for a 35, 36-year-old dude in that role.
Awesome for him, too, because you know about it as well. The frustrations he was having last year and being able to bounce back this season when everybody was saying, why is he still on the roster? He should be gone, or at least be a coach instead of a player anymore. So, like I said, tip of the cap to Cam. Big fan.
I'll need to look it up, too, because he's got some pretty hefty incentives based on sack totals. So we're coming up on like a $500,000 sack here pretty soon.
I know he likes that.
Let's see. See if I can find it. Yeah, I'll have to. I'll find it, but it's probably going to take me too long to assess.
Speaking of sacks, though, while you're looking that up, how about Isaiah Stallberg?
Yeah, I don't know how good of a play it was, other than like it was improved. It was
at least the effort to go back and finish the sack.
Yeah, right. He finished it off, which is important, because like if Kirk is able to find someone downfield, that would have been that would have been painful to watch. God damn it! I'm gonna get this, man. We're gonna find out. Because if I don't look it up now, I'm going to forget.
Yeah, you mentioned, too, with the sacks, Chase Young got into the mix again. I feel like he's been more and more, like it's been a consistent where he's at least averaging, like getting a sack a game right now.
Yeah. No, it's oh, here it is. Sack. Yeah, okay, I got it, guys. I got it. So he's got playtime incentives. I don't know. It's tougher to gauge exactly what his playtime is. But his sack incentives, yeah. So his next sack and every sack the rest of the way. So his 5th sack is going to be a $300,000 incentive. So his next half sack, he's going to make $300,000. His 6th sack, $300,000. His 7th sack, $400,000. His 8th sack, $400,000. And his 9th sack, $600,000. So every sack the rest of the way is going to be cha-ching. So you think Cam's excited to get to the quarterback now? He's literally making $250,000 every time he sacks the quarterback from this point on.
Let's go.
So that's just something to keep in mind. Like, I don't think he's going to make a huge deal about it. He'll probably make some kind of like offhand comments in his press conferences. But like, if he looks a little extra excited after these next few sacks, then just keep that in mind. Because he's costing the Saints a lot of money.
Good. Get it. Go and get it.
Seriously. I mean, come on. You need it's the little things at this stage, right?
Exactly.
I do also want, I don't know how stock up it is because it's like still I want more, but Devon Villay, what did he finish with? 3 catches. He did get 7 targets, so he was targeted. 37 catches. He made multiple catches in first down, like hard down situations, right? Slants, going over the middle of the field, catching the ball, going doing the big body receiver stuff that we just haven't seen enough of. And like that's what he's here to do. The frustrating thing is like, yeah, he's supposed to be here in the red zone too. And that's why it's like, why are we not giving Tyler Shough the ball and letting him throw to Devon Villay in the red zone? Is that not the idea? Is that not what you're doing? Also, can we do one Breeze leap just to see if it works? Like Drew was up there watching. You'd think he would have just done it because it's like an homage.
Yes. I like it.
I was hoping they would. I thought that I mentioned that on the radio and I was like, please do it. Please do it. Please. Anyway, they didn't do it. They did not score a touchdown. But he did. He had like, those are the plays that you want to see. Like, yeah, you want more numbers and whatever. But like, if he's picking up first downs over the middle of the field on those kind of, box him out slants that, Mike Thomas made a career off of, that's what you want to see. So I want to give him some credit for that. Anything else?
Stock up for any of the Whodats at the game. Glad to see you off the bye week and supporting the team against the hated Falcons. There was no selling of tickets this week. That's for sure. I don't think ATL fans were out there clamoring for him either, though.
It's true. There were not a lot of Falcons fans in that building. Like, it was not a takeover by any stretch, despite what they want you to believe. I will mention one more, and it's only because he gets a lot of grief for the drops. Juwan Johnson, over the last 3 games, 13 catches on 15 targets. He caught 6 to 7 passes in this game. The only incomplete, Jesse Bates just blew it out. Like, it wasn't a drop. It was Jesse Bates knocked the ball down. So, like, Juwan didn't have a chance at it. But, for a guy that got a ton of grief early in the season for not holding on to the ball, since Tyler Shough took over, I don't know if if that has anything to do with it, but he's caught everything thrown his way. He's been a productive player. So, like, I know people are already out on him, whatever, but like 13 and 15, that's elite catch rate. If he'd been doing that all year long, we'd be talking about him up like as like a top 5 tight end, not top 10.
Throw it to him in the end zone too.
Do anything. Throw it to anyone.
Anyone.
Literally anyone. Just stop giving me the Taysom Hill. That's all I got. Anything else?
No, I see some of the folks in the chat talking about Breeze as a commentator. Obviously did not get to hear any of that, unfortunately. Maybe I'll go back and check out the TV copy.
Yeah, I'll have to at least skim through it a little bit to hear.
Yeah.
I have no answer for you on that. I saw the same thing. Bertolli says, I heard people criticize Breeze for being too quiet in the previous game. Yeah, I was on the sideline. I didn't hear a peep of it. I didn't see a lot of negativity because a lot of that would have come from Falcons fans if they were losing and the Falcons weren't losing.
Yeah.
So,
No, the negativity was definitely you can imagine early on in the game, the social media wall was just all get rid of Blake Groupie now, clear out his locker for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Normally I'm the pump the brakes guy, but I can't be. It's time. Yeah. We got it. We did it. We made it. We did it again.
Yeah, we got Kellen Moore speaking soon, getting ready for it. We're moving on to Miami.
It's only 6 more of these, man. We'll make it.
You're going to take residence the next 2 games in Florida, my friend.
Yeah, seriously. We should just stay.
Odyssey will love that.
Hey, they'll like it more than these trips to Paris.
Or Monaco.
Monaco, yeah. Nice. Nice. I need to get a passport. All right. Who dat? Go Saints. Hang in there. It probably won't get better, but we're going to keep doing it. We're going to make it.
From our black and gold hearts to yours, we love you, Whodats.
More black than gold. Anyway. All right. And we're coming back in for a quick mailbag.
Or anything like that.
That he didn't hit in the show.
Our guys are back in today. They had some.
Oh wait, is Kellen talking now?
Yeah.
He's early?
Started early.
No, he just couldn't wait.
Started with the medical stuff. Nothing new.
Hey, we could do that thing that we talked about the other day and just live stream the press conference. It says it still hasn't started. Are you sure?
Have I started the wrong one?
I think you're watching the wrong one.
Yeah, you're right.
I was like, wait a second. I'm looking at it. It's still got a countdown. Anyway, okay. Back to this. 992 RAS says you had 25 plays in the third quarter and you had 3 points. And I'll tell you, you're wrong because those 3 points came in the fourth quarter. The Saints did not score a single point in the third quarter, which is infuriating when you consider they had the ball for almost the entire quarter, right? I can't say this enough times. They did to the Falcons what the Rams did to the Saints, and we all came out talking about like, man, you can't win games if the other team does that to you. And when you know it, the Saints did that, and not only did they lose, they weren't even close. It was so fascinating to watch play out in real time. Like I could see like Mike Haas is like losing his mind. He was like we can't score as many points. It takes so long. It takes us so long to get down the field. We can't score these. It's just anyway.
Yeah, I definitely don't envy you guys trying to broadcast this team playing football.
I didn't say much. I didn't have much to say. Like, you know, I usually I have a bunch of notes going into the game, but they're not like this team sucks. You know, like they're usually like, oh, so and so makes a big play. I got this note about them, or so and so. But it's like when the game is going the way it's going,
just waiting.
But it's like it feels like stupid to even come out with like a positive note, even when a guy makes a catch, right? Like, because it's like, are we watching the same game? You know,
right? I don't care about his catch, Jeff. We're down by 10.
Well, right, and that's the right way to be. But I need to just be more realistic when I'm putting my notes together and just start coming up with a lot more negatives than positives. See, the Raiders fired their coach, or Chip Kelly, rather, the offensive coordinator.
As an Eagles fan, I have no love lost for Chip Kelly. Maybe him and Brian Kelly can get together and be a dynamic duo. Maybe. I sometimes I will confuse it and say Chip Kelly instead of Brian Kelly and vice versa. Who Pete Carroll didn't fire are his two sons who are on his coaching staff. Did you know that? Funny how that works.
Yeah, one of his sons is the offensive line coach, and the other one's like an offensive assistant. Which, good to know, nepotism is alive and well in the NFL, baby. But here's the thing: I'm okay with nepotism as long as it's good. Like no one complains about the Shanahan of it all. I don't complain about Justice Smith. I just watched Now You See Me, Now You Don't. He was in that. Did a great job. It's Will Smith's son. Who's Denzel's son? I always forget Denzel's son. He's in Tenet. What's his name?
I haven't seen that one.
You've never seen Tenet?
No, I'm behind on a lot of stuff, man.
It's not worth watching. But John David Washington is his name. And so I'll give him that. He was in The Black Klansman too. It was a good movie. So it's like sometimes nepotism is good when it works, you know. Dakota Johnson, you know. But apparently it's not working for the Raiders.
Nothing works for them either.
I think they paid Chip Kelly like $9 million this year. Like he was the highest paid coordinator.
Yeah.
Sorry. Val Banks says it was not acceptable to turn the city of New Orleans into the house of Flatlanta, but the Pelicans and the Saints did it. And pretty much
that was a rough weekend.
Pathetic. Then LSU barely won. Emphasis on, what was it, 13-10? Against
versus Western Kentucky.
God. Oh man, at least Tulane's good. We should turn this into a Tulane podcast. Ugh.
That's
Man.
why I came today, Jeff. The kiddo got a playoff victory, so I'm supporting a football team that won in Rummel.
There you go. Yeah, we always support winners on this podcast.
Then we won't be doing podcasts very often.
We're gonna have to meow mix this thing. Borderly says, I've been a Kellen Moore defender all year, but this past game makes it difficult to keep that up, especially after 2 weeks to plan and self-scout. This is the best you have to put on the field. Yeah.
Yeah. Feel that. I feel that, Borderly.
I will say, like, Kellen's not getting fired.
No.
I think Ralph, I'm going to have to steal something from Ralph Malbrough because he was like, the only way Kellen Moore's getting fired is if he's let out of that building in handcuffs. It's true. Like, he's not getting fired. And he shouldn't get fired. Like, we all knew going in this was going to be a slog, right? So he's going to get at least a chance to correct mistakes. And the frustrating thing is those corrections aren't necessarily happening in season. But, you know, I think a lot of first-year head coaches struggle.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they can't coach.
How much does everyone here love Sean Payton? His first year in Denver wasn't pretty.
His first year here was. I think that's part of the reason. I think Sean ruined the curve for these
New
kind of
head coach?
offensive head coaches.
Yeah.
Because like Sean showed up and went immediately to the NFC Championship. And you know, like this has gone badly. Like I'm not trying to gaslight anyone or thinking it's better than it looks, but I do think like you have to at least give the first year head coach, the youngest head coach in the NFL, some time to build a system. And you'd hope that next training camp you have more of the pieces you need, and the offense is more installed, the defense is more established, and it all looks better. Like, and if it doesn't, then that's a huge red flag. But I know it's like you want everything now. We live in a microwave society. Like, it's hard to see the forest for the trees and like understand there's more. But I think like everyone wants to hit the fire button right away, and I just don't think that's going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen with this organization.
Unless the dramatic news of Mickey Loomis getting fired comes down and goes, well, maybe the new GM will bring a new head coach.
Maybe. Val Dargo says, if they don't cut Blake, what does that say about the Saints culture? Striving for excellence, I think not. Yeah. I mean, it would that they are very, very sorry.
They're loyal to their players sometimes at a fault. I think that could be the, you know, what does that say about their culture? That's
exactly what I was going to say. It would say that they are loyal to a very, very big fault, like a San Andreas size fault.
It could, like you said, it wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world if they do stick with them. It just doesn't feel like that's happening, though. I don't know. I feel like you have to have some kind of something else to base it off of to see if maybe it is a procedural issue and we don't know. And then you find out with the next kicker, it wasn't groupie. It's just something with the Prusies.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on that. I don't know why.
I think it is tough just because it's like he's a team leader and like he was voted a team captain, and it's not. It's like look bad. You would have if they cut Blake Groupie, that would mean they in back-to-back in the span of a week cut two team captains.
Well, that's because they gave out too many.
That's fair, but you need at least one special teams captain. Like. If they gave out too many, it's because they made Brandon Cooks a captain. So I'll give you that. But like you need at least one special teams captain.
Fair enough.
And it was JT Gray. So they would have been the third captain effectively if they cut.
Is he playing at all? I don't even know.
I honestly couldn't tell you. Okay, let's see. Tony White, 4476, says, I wish Kellen Moore would stop thinking he's Sean Payton or that he can even fill his shoes. Every time he takes a page from the Payton trick playbook, it bombs. The place and time for it is when trailing I don't know. Have we seen that? Like I can't think like other than the Taysom Hill stuff, which is just kind of what it is. I don't know. I don't know if we're necessarily seeing that.
When I think of trick play, I think of the throw to Spencer that didn't work.
And that wasn't a Sean Payton play.
Right.
Maybe the Taysom stuff, but it's funny, like Taysom didn't get the type of run. Like it wasn't until Sean left that Taysom's usage really skyrocketed.
Right.
Like Pete Carmichael was the architect of a lot of like, we're going to use Taysom, we're going to run him into the ground and blah, blah, blah. And then Clint came in, did the same thing. But like Sean was a lot more judicious with how he used Taysom than any of the coaches since him have been, which is kind of interesting.
He also had a little more weapons too, as well.
Yeah, I mean, he had Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
Yeah, I mean, that's a part of it, right? Like every time you put Taysom on the field, it was not just taking your quarterback off the field; it was taking Drew Brees off the field. And when it goes from that to, well, you're taking Derek Carr off the field, you're taking Spencer Rattler off the field, you're taking
Andy Dalton,
Tyler Shough off. Like it's a lot. Andy Dalton, yeah, that's what I knew I was forgetting one. Jameis too, but did you see Jameis's catch?
Amazing.
I think he may have missed.
How about those moves? And then I love the crap celebration.
Yeah. Well, and he's wearing 19 too, which is like a weird quarterback number. I thought he was like a tight end for a second. Like he kind of looks like Brandon Marshall. When he was in, like, because Brandon Marshall had a really short run as a Giants wide receiver. I think he wore like 15. And
no, I am not part of the Jameis fan club, but I thought that was a hell of a play.
It was like the funny thing about trick plays, and there's a second trick play touchdown they had in that game.
Yeah.
It's like the closer they come to disaster, the more effective they typically are, and I can't remember who threw the first trick play touchdown, but like they had one early in the game, they had one late in the game, but then in classic Giants fashion, they found a way to lose.
Right.
And then fired their defensive coordinator, which typically you don't see typically once the head coach gets fired, you're just going to ride it out. They fired the defensive coordinator. How many coaches do they have left?
We got interim everything.
Yeah, that's just wild. That usually it's just like, well, we've already done the firing. We just need to survive. So it must have been going so badly with Shane Bowen that they were like, but no, that was a cool moment for Jameis. Even though like that offense is working. That's the weird thing. They fired the head coach. They don't have their quarterback. They don't have their running back. They don't have their wide receiver. They're putting up points. Saints aren't.
Well, that great weapon that's Wan'Dale Robinson.
992 RAS says JT Gray is on Tampa Bay. Is that true?
I remember Ravens had claimed him.
Yes. When did that happen? I don't think he's played a game. No, he hasn't appeared in a game this year, but he is on the Bucs, which is interesting. Maybe they'll activate him for.
Wow, yeah, I didn't know he went actually from Baltimore, then even to the Broncos, and now to the Bucs. So
I remember him going to the Broncos. I do remember going to the Broncos. So I mean, like cutting him doesn't necessarily seem like it was a huge problem considering he hasn't played in a game this year.
Correct, Mundo.
But maybe they'll elevate him. Maybe Tampa will just kind of, troll the Saints and bring him up. All right, let's see. I only know Jaden Smith. Who's Jaden Smith? Okay, yeah, that's the idea. The Kubiak nepotism is there as well. Although, are they? The Seahawks lead the NFL in turnovers.
Well, you got to look at Sam I Am.
I don't think you can say that the nepotism has worked until you have at least one head coach in the family. Otherwise, it's just like, they're going to get cycled.
I will say, look at the year that Jackson Smith and Jigba's having with, and I'll give credit to Kubiak for sure.
Yeah, sure. Clint's fine, but he's going to inevitably get a head coaching. Like he's going to inevitably get a head coaching job, and it's going to go terribly because he is offensive Dennis Allen. Like that's the reason they got along so well because they both have the personality of AI chatbots.
I was going to say, who's the more boring personality for you? Is it Kubiak or Kellen Moore?
Oh, Kubiak, no question.
Yeah, I'd have to go Kubiak too. At least Kellen's got he smiles and is at least you see joy where it was just very straight line with Kubiak.
Kellen's a goofball. Like
Yeah.
Kellen is like his personality. Like he has a personality. It's not particularly dynamic, but he does have a personality. He also has a lot. He has a much more interesting backstory. Like he's like the all-time greatest college quarterback of all. Like he has stories to tell.
Right.
You ask Clint if he wants to, like, who his dream like golf outing would be. It'd be like my dad and Jesus. That's what he would say. I think Derek.
That's a pretty good duo.
That's good. Bordeley says Stallbird looked like one of those sugar gliders on that. That was so like I don't think he realized he could jump that high. Stallbird's an athlete though, man. That's
what's funny is you're watching and you're like, what is going on? And it's like, oh, he got him.
Yeah, like if this was basketball, you'd be saying he like posterized him, he dunked over him. But all right, I think that's all I got. Yep, Stallbird channeling his inner Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batbird. Isaiah Batbird. Anything else? Anything else you feeling about? Feeling some type of way about?
No, I'm just looking forward to more ops this week.
So many ops. So many ops. I would guarantee you the first thing Kellen talks about is how well they move the ball. Guarantee it. And it's going to drive people nuts. But he's also not wrong. Because they did. They had back-to-back 15-play drives. They got down to the 1-yard line.
They just didn't finish them. We are allergic to touchdowns.
It's so bad, man. Anyway, that's it. Kellen's about to talk.
Yeah, I'm going to go listen to Coach.
Who dat? Go Saints. I keep saying it. I don't mean it.
What's that?
Go Saints.
Always.
It's just what I say now.
Yeah. Who dat, man? For life.
Who is that?
Who is that?
All right, y'all. Peace. See you later in the week.
Peace.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Gobble, gobble.
Robble, robble.